Dirt cheap Mississippi farmhouses with land, hidden real estate gems within reach. We've uncovered 10 remarkably affordable rural properties across the state, priced from $175,500 all the way down to just $33,500. These listings shatter the myth that land ownership is only for the wealthy. Our journey begins in Seminary, a quiet Covington County town of roughly 230 residents, so small you could count its population in a single theater. Crime is virtually non-existent, and life moves at an unhurried pace. Though rural, the county maintains a healthy 4% unemployment rate, on par with national averages. This particular home sits 6 miles outside town, so a car is essential. A local Piggly Wiggly covers weekly groceries, while Hattiesburg, just 23 miles southeast, provides hospitals, big box retailers, and dining options. Close enough for convenience, far enough for peace. Built in 1950, the house spans 2,200 square feet with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths across 7 usable acres. Sold as is but far from dilapidated, it needs only light cosmetic updates, fresh paint, new fixtures, to feel like home. Sunlight pours through generous windows, brightening open living spaces with tile floors in high-traffic zones and genuine hardwood underfoot in bedrooms and the main living area. The primary bathroom features a full-sized tub, and a dedicated laundry room offers real functionality, not a cramped closet. Outside, mature trees, open fields, and a small pond provide privacy and possibilities. Gardens, livestock, or a future workshop. All of this for $175,500. Next, Columbia, the Marion County seat, offers small city infrastructure with around 6,000 residents and access to the scenic Pearl River. 9 miles from downtown, this 5-acre property features a 2007-built home with 1,565 square feet, 3 bedrooms, and 2 baths. An open layout connects kitchen, dining, and living areas beneath wood plank walls that radiate rustic charm. Custom cabinetry, stainless steel appliances, excluding the fridge, and an oversized laundry room add practical elegance. The primary suite includes a true walk-in closet and a sleek tiled shower. Energy efficiency got a boost with new blown-in insulation, and the AC unit was replaced in 2017. Some cosmetic finishing is needed, but the bones are strong, and the price is $169,900. In Calhoun City, a railroad-born community where neighbors still recognize each other at the market, we find 8 acres with a 2,167 square foot home featuring 3 bedrooms and 3 full baths. 2 distinct living areas include one with rich wood walls and a fireplace. The unfinished basement, complete with its own bathroom and exterior entrance, holds potential as a guest suite, rental unit, or private workspace. A large deck overlooks a peaceful pond, while a sturdy workshop and carport round out the outdoor amenities. Annual property taxes? Just $338. Priced at $150,000. Louisville delivers that sweet spot between accessibility and seclusion. On 2.4 private acres sits a 1,793 square foot ranch-style home with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. Thoughtful layout eliminates wasted space, and abundant natural light creates an airy feel. Bedrooms offer Rayall breathing room, no furniture-jammed closets here. Move-in ready with minor TLC required. It's priced at $140,000. Deep in pine-forested Lawrence County lies Silver Creek, a true hideaway of 180 souls. At the end of a dead-end road, a well-kept 1971 brick home rests on just over 4 acres. With 2,073 square feet, note, original transcript typo corrected, 3 bedrooms, and 2 baths, it welcomes guests through double front doors into formal living and dining spaces. The family room flows into a functional kitchen, and the primary suite boasts a private vanity area. A 2-car garage connects via breezeway, the backyard is fenced, and a new roof eliminates a major future expense. All for $129,000. 8 miles from Taylorsville, a charming 1-acre parcel hosts a 1,134 square foot home with 3 bedrooms and 1.5 baths. Fruit trees, blueberries, apples, dot the fenced yard, offering homegrown snacks year-round. A new roof and covered carport add practical value, while annual taxes stay low at $447. Priced at $120,000, it's ideal as a starter home, weekend retreat, or investment property. In Drew, heart of the Mississippi Delta, agriculture sets the rhythm of life. This 9.32-acre parcel includes a duck pond and a 2,132-square-foot brick home with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a flexible bonus room perfect for a hunting bunkhouse, playroom, or home gym. The primary suite features an en-suite bath and walk-in closet. Though it needs work and sits 40 miles from major services, its recently reduced price of $99,000 and estimated $617 monthly mortgage makes it a rare opportunity for land-rich living. Coldwater, in North Mississippi, offers 1.6 acres with a 1,558-square-foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home built in 1975. Fresh paint and new flooring provide a head start, but a professional inspection is advised before purchase. A detached workshop and carport add utility. Best suited for hands-on buyers or investors, it's priced at $85,000. Quitman, a no-frills Clark County town of under 2,000, delivers essentials without pretense. Just outside town on 1.40 acres, a spacious 1,792-square-foot brick home offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and room to convert a space into a 4th bedroom or office. The open kitchen features ample cabinetry and an eat-in area, while formal living and dining spaces accommodate gatherings. A covered patio, fenced backyard, and detached garage complete the package. Though it needs TLC, its $67,500 price tag sits well below the local $123,000 median home value, leaving room to renovate and build equity. Finally, Pickens, a quiet Holmes County town, hosts our most ambitious project. Nearly 2,900 square feet on a 0.60-acre lot for just $33,500. 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, a full basement, formal dining and living rooms, a keeping room, large pantry, bonus room with its own bath, and screened porches front and back offer extraordinary potential. This is not a turnkey home, it's a full renovation opportunity. But with the local median home value at $116,300, even $70,000 in upgrades could yield strong equity or resale profit for skilled investors or DIY renovators. These 10 Mississippi properties, ranging from move-in ready farmhouses to blank slate renovation projects, prove that land ownership remains within reach. With brick exteriors, ponds, workshops, and genuine privacy included, they offer space, potential, and a chance to build legacy far from inflated urban markets. For those willing to look beyond the mainstream, opportunity still grows on southern soil.
What makes Mississippi farmhouses so affordable compared to other states? Mississippi farmhouses remain remarkably affordable due to a combination of economic, geographic, and demographic factors that distinguish the state from higher-cost regions. First, Mississippi consistently ranks among the states with the lowest median home values in the nation, a trend rooted in decades of slower economic growth, lower average wages, and limited large-scale industrial development outside of few urban corridors. Rural counties, where most of these farmhouses are located, experience minimal population pressure. Many have actually seen population decline over the past 30 years, which suppresses demand and keeps prices low. Additionally, Mississippi has some of the most favorable property tax structures in the United States, with effective rates often below 0.8% of assessed value and numerous homestead exemptions for primary residences. The state's agricultural heritage also plays a role. Vast tracts of land were historically devoted to cotton, soybeans, and timber rather than suburban expansion, meaning acreage never underwent the same speculative inflation seen in states experiencing rapid urban sprawl. Unlike regions where rural now means within commuting distance of a tech hub or major city, much of Mississippi's countryside remains genuinely remote from high-wage employment centers, which further moderates prices. Finally, cultural factors matter. Many younger Mississippians migrate to other states for education or career opportunities, reducing intergenerational demand for family land and creating a steady supply of inherited properties that heirs sell rather than occupy. All these elements converge to create a market where functional homes on multiple acres can be purchased for prices that would barely cover a down payment on a condominium in coastal metropolitan areas. How much land typically comes with these properties, and what can owners realistically do with it? The properties featured in this market segment typically include between 0.6 acres for in-town lots and more than 9 acres for deep rural parcels, with a majority falling in the 2 to 8 acre range. This amount of land provides meaningful utility beyond mere aesthetics. On 2 to 3 acres, Owners can establish substantial vegetable gardens capable of supplying a significant portion of a family's produce throughout Mississippi's long 9-month growing season. Maintain a small orchard with fig, pecan, or citrus trees suited to the climate. Keep a flock of 20 to 30 laying hens, often legally permitted even in some town limits. And designate space for composting systems or rainwater collection. With 5 to 8 acres, possibilities expand considerably. Owners can pasture a couple of horses or a small herd of goats for brush management. Create dedicated wildlife habitat with native plantings to attract pollinators and game birds. Establish a modest timber plot with fast-growing pines that could generate income in 15 to 20 years. Or build accessory structures like a workshop, greenhouse, or guest cabin without violating setback requirements. The 9-acre Delta property with its duck pond exemplifies specialized use. Waterfowl hunters might manage the pond's vegetation and water levels to attract migrating ducks during hunting season while using surrounding fields for dove or deer hunting. Importantly, most rural Mississippi counties have permissive zoning that allows these activities without special permits, though owners should verify whether their parcel falls under county jurisdiction or within town limits, as municipal ordinances sometimes restrict livestock or commercial agricultural activities, even on larger lots. The land also provides psychological value, genuine visual and auditory privacy, freedom from homeowners' association restrictions, and the ability to engage in projects like burning brush piles or running power tools on weekends that would violate noise or aesthetic covenants in suburban developments. Are these homes move-in ready, or do they require significant renovation work? The condition spectrum for these properties spans from nearly turnkey to full renovation projects, and understanding where each property falls is crucial for budgeting and timeline planning. Homes like the Seminary Farmhouse at $175,500 and the Columbia property at $169,900 represent the more move-in ready end of the spectrum. They may need fresh paint, updated light fixtures, new flooring in high-wear areas, or cosmetic kitchen updates like replacing countertops or cabinet hardware, but their core systems remain functional. The Seminary home's 1950 construction means it likely has original hardwood floors beneath older carpeting and solid framing typical of mid-century craftsmanship, though buyers should verify the electrical system has been upgraded from original knob and tube wiring and that plumbing pipes aren't original galvanized steel, which corrodes internally over decades. The Columbia home, built in 2007, benefits from modern construction standards, likely featuring 200-amp electrical service, PVC or PX plumbing, and energy-efficient windows, but still requires finishing touches that the previous owner deferred. Mid-spectrum properties like the Calhoun City home at $150,000 or the Taylorsville property at $120,000 present what real estate professionals call good bones with deferred maintenance. Structurally sound with intact roofs and functioning HVAC systems, but needing comprehensive interior refreshes, replacing worn carpeting, resealing grout in bathrooms, addressing minor moisture issues in crawl spaces, and updating outdated appliances. These typically require $15,000 to $30,000 in renovations over 6 to 12 months for a handy owner, or half that timeline with contractors. At the project end sits the Pickens property at $33,500, a true fixer-upper where as-is mean systems may be non-functional. This category often requires roof replacement, though the listing mentions a new roof elsewhere, complete electrical rewiring, plumbing replacement, HVAC installation, drywall repair, and possibly foundation stabilization. Budgeting $50,000 to $80,000 for renovations on a $33,500 purchase isn't excessive for this tier. However, the math can still work because the finished value would likely exceed $150,000 in that market. Critical advice for buyers. Always hire a licensed home inspector familiar with older Southern construction before purchasing any property sold as is, and specifically request evaluation of the foundation for pier and beam settling common in Mississippi's clay soils, the attic for evidence of past roof leaks, and the crawl space for standing water or termite damage. What about access to essential services like groceries, healthcare, and emergency response in these rural locations? Access to services in rural Mississippi operates on a tiered system that requires lifestyle adaptation, but rarely means true isolation. Nearly every town with population over 500 maintains at least one combination grocery/convenience store, often a locally owned establishment or small chain like Piggly Wiggly that stocks essentials: milk, eggs, bread, canned goods, basic meats, and household supplies. These stores may lack organic produce sections or international aisles found in urban supermarkets, but they reliably provide staples. For a broader selection: fresh seafood, specialty cheeses, ethnic ingredients, or bulk items, residents typically drive to county seats or small cities within a 20 to 40-minute radius. The seminary property's proximity to Hattiesburg, 23 miles, exemplifies this pattern. A single weekly or bi-weekly trip to a Walmart supercenter or regional grocery chain handles major shopping, while the local Piggly Wiggly covers forgotten items or last-minute needs. Healthcare follows a similar model. Small towns often host a family practice clinic or community health center for routine care, vaccinations, and minor emergencies, while hospitals with emergency departments, imaging services, and specialists cluster in regional hubs. Columbia's proximity to the Pearl River and its status as a county seat means residents reach comprehensive medical facilities within 30 minutes. Crucially, Mississippi has invested in rural emergency medical services. Most counties maintain volunteer fire departments that provide first responder services, and ambulance response times in areas like Covington or Marion County typically range from 8 to 15 minutes for life-threatening emergencies, though non-urgent medical transport may take longer. Internet access has improved substantially with federal broadband expansion programs, while fiber optic service remains rare outside towns. Fixed wireless providers now deliver 25 to 100 megabits per second connections across much of rural Mississippi, sufficient for Zoom calls, streaming, and remote work, though latency may affect competitive gaming or real-time financial trading. The key adjustment for urban transplants is shifting from an on-demand mindset to a planned provisioning approach, consolidating errands, maintaining a well-stocked pantry, keeping vehicle fuel tanks above half full, and building relationships with local providers who may offer informal accommodations like holding prescriptions after hours for known residents. How does Mississippi's climate affect the maintenance requirements and livability of these older farmhouses? Mississippi's humid subtropical climate creates both advantages and challenges for farmhouse ownership that significantly influence annual maintenance routines and comfort strategies. The extended growing season, typically 240 to 270 frost-free days, depending on the region, allows for prolific gardening and lush landscaping, but also accelerates organic decay and encourages persistent pest pressure. High humidity levels averaging 70% to 80% year-round mean moisture management becomes the single most important maintenance priority for older homes. Without proper ventilation, crawl spaces accumulate condensation that promotes wood rot in floor joists and attracts termites, while attics without adequate soffit vents trap heat and moisture that degrade roof decking from beneath. Homeowners must inspect and clean gutters quarterly, especially after spring thunderstorms and autumn leaf drop. Ensure downspouts extend at least 6 feet from foundations, and maintain positive drainage grading around the entire perimeter. Ideally a 6-inch drop over the first 10 feet of soil. The climate also demands vigilant pest control. Formosan subterranean termites thrive in Mississippi's warmth and moisture, requiring annual inspections and often preventative chemical barriers or baiting systems costing $500 to $1,200 yearly. Mosquito populations peak from April through October, making screen porches essential for evening enjoyment and necessitating regular checks for torn screening. Summer heat presents livability challenges. Temperatures regularly reach the mid-90s from June through September, with heat indices exceeding 105 degrees Fahrenheit, making efficient air conditioning non-negotiable rather than optional. Older homes with single-pane windows and minimal insulation strain HVAC systems, leading to high electric bills. Strategic upgrades like adding radiant barrier in attics, sealing window gaps with weather stripping, and planting deciduous shade trees on western exposures can reduce cooling costs by 20% to 30%. Conversely, winters are mild with average January lows around 35 degrees Fahrenheit to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning heating demands are minimal. Many residents use space heaters or electric blankets rather than central heat for brief cold snaps. The rainy season distributes precipitation fairly evenly, 55 to 65 inches annually statewide, avoiding the dramatic drought cycles of western states, but requiring attention to roof integrity, A small leak unnoticed for months in humid conditions can cause extensive mold growth and structural damage. Smart owners budget $1,500 to $3,000 annually for climate-related maintenance. Gutter cleaning, pest treatments, HVAC servicing, exterior painting every 5 to 7 years to protect with siding, and periodic pressure washing to remove mildew from north-facing surfaces. Despite these demands, many residents appreciate the climate's benefits. The ability to garden year-round with winter crops like collards and turnips, comfortable outdoor living from March through November, and the absence of snow removal or ice-related hazards that burden northern homeowners. Are these properties suitable for retirees seeking an affordable, peaceful lifestyle?
These Mississippi farmhouses present compelling advantages for retirees whose priorities align with rural Southern living, though they require honest assessment of personal needs and limitations. Financially, the value proposition is exceptional. A retiree purchasing the $120,000 Taylorsville property with a 20% down payment and a 30-year mortgage would face a principal and interest payment around $450 monthly, plus approximately $45 in property taxes and $100 to $150 for homeowners insurance, totaling under $650 monthly for housing costs that include both shelter and land. Compare this to the $1,800 to $2,500 monthly rent for a one-bedroom apartment in most American cities, and the equity-building potential becomes evident. When combined with Mississippi's low cost of living, groceries run 10% to 15% below national averages, and healthcare costs are moderate outside major metros. Many retirees find Social Security benefits sufficient for comfortable living, especially if their home is paid off. The lifestyle offers genuine tranquility. Properties like the Silver Creek home at $129,000 sit at the end of dead-end roads where nighttime brings true darkness unpolluted by streetlights, daytime noise consists of birdsong rather than traffic, and neighbors respect privacy without isolation. This environment benefits retirees seeking reduced stress, opportunities for gentle physical activity like gardening or walking wooded paths, and freedom from urban anxieties. However, critical considerations must be addressed before committing. Healthcare access requires planning. While routine care exists in small towns, specialists typically practice in regional hubs requiring 30 to 60-minute drives, manageable for quarterly appointments but challenging for weekly treatments. Retirees with complex medical needs should verify proximity to facilities offering their required specialties before purchasing. Physical demands of rural living also matter. Maintaining multiple acres, climbing stairs in two-story farmhouses, hauling firewood, or managing livestock may exceed capabilities as mobility declines. One-story ranch-style properties like the Louisville home at $140,000 become increasingly valuable for aging in place. Social integration requires initiative in small communities where generations of family ties create invisible social structures. Retirees who participate in church activities, volunteer at community events, or join local clubs typically build meaningful connections within 1 to 2 years, while those expecting instant anonymity may feel isolated. Finally, emergency preparedness matters. Rural locations mean longer ambulance response times during medical crises, making medical alert systems and nearby neighbors who check in regularly important safety nets. For retirees in good health with modest income, appreciation for nature, willingness to drive for services, and desire for space over convenience, these properties offer an exceptionally affordable path to dignified, self-determined retirement. What specific risks should buyers investigate before purchasing older farmhouses in Mississippi? Prospective buyers must conduct thorough due diligence on several Mississippi-specific risks that could transform an apparently affordable purchase into a financial burden. First and foremost is foundation integrity. Most older Mississippi farmhouses sit on pier and beam foundations rather than slabs, which allows for ventilation but makes them susceptible to settling in the state's expansive clay soils that swell when wet and contract during dry periods. Signs of trouble include diagonal cracks in drywall at corners, doors that stick seasonally, or sloping floors. Minor issues might cost $2,000 to $5,000 to correct with additional piers, but severe settling requiring house lifting and foundation replacement can exceed $25,000. Second, moisture intrusion presents chronic challenges. Inspect crawl spaces for standing water, musty odors indicating mold growth on floor joists, or evidence of past flooding like silt deposits or water staining on foundation piers. Homes in low-lying areas or near creeks require verification of FEMA flood zone status. Properties in Zone A or V face mandatory flood insurance costing $1,200 to $3,000 annually and potential future flood damage. Third, pest damage demands professional assessment. Mississippi's warm, humid climate supports aggressive subterranean termite colonies that can silently consume structural wood for years. Look for mud tubes along foundation walls, hollow-sounding wood when tapped, or discarded wings near windowsills after swarming season, typically spring. Even homes with previous termite treatment require ongoing monitoring contracts costing $300 to $600 yearly. Fourth, outdated systems create hidden costs. Homes built before 1970 often retain original galvanized steel plumbing that corrodes internally, reducing water pressure and risking sudden leaks. Knob and tube electrical wiring lacks grounding and poses fire hazards when overloaded with modern appliances. And HVAC systems over 15 years old face imminent compressor failure, requiring $4,000 to $7,000 replacement. Fifth, environmental concerns affect specific regions. Delta properties may have historical agricultural chemical contamination in soil, while homes near former industrial sites require Phase 1 environmental assessments. Sixth, title complications occasionally arise with inherited properties where multiple heirs hold fractional interests. Always obtain title insurance and verify the seller has clear ownership before closing. Seventh, insurance availability is tightening in some areas. After repeated hurricane-related claims, some carriers now exclude wind damage or require separate windstorm policies with high deductibles in coastal counties, though inland properties like those featured generally maintain standard coverage availability. The single most valuable step buyers can take is hiring a licensed home inspector with explicit experience in older southern construction, ideally one willing to spend 3 to 4 hours thoroughly examining crawl spaces with moisture meters, testing all plumbing fixtures simultaneously to check pressure, operating every electrical outlet with a circuit tester, and assessing attic ventilation adequacy. Budget $400 to $600 for this inspection. It's the most cost-effective expenditure in the buying process, potentially revealing $20,000 in needed repairs that justify walking away or renegotiating price before closing.
Can these properties realistically support self-sufficient or homesteading lifestyles? Many of these Mississippi farmhouses provide genuine potential for partial self-sufficiency, though achieving complete off-grid independence requires significant investment and lifestyle adjustments that exceed what the base properties offer. Realistically, owners can achieve 40% to 60% food self-sufficiency on 2 to 5 acres with dedicated effort. Mississippi's climate supports year-round food production. Spring gardens yield tomatoes, peppers, squash, and beans. Summer heat favors okra, sweet potatoes, and southern peas. Fall gardens produce broccoli, carrots, and leafy greens. And winter crops like collards, turnips, and kale thrive with minimal protection. A quarter-acre intensively managed garden can supply a family of 4 with vegetables for 8 to 9 months annually, supplemented by preservation techniques like canning, freezing, and root cellaring. Fruit production adds substantial value. Existing properties like the Taylorsville home already feature blueberry bushes and apple trees, and owners can establish fig orchards, virtually pest-free in Mississippi. Muscadine grape arbors, pecan trees that begin bearing in 7 to 10 years, and citrus varieties like Satsuma oranges that survive most winters with minimal protection. Small livestock integration works well on these acreages. 20 to 30 laying hens provide daily eggs with minimal space requirements. 2 to 4 meat rabbits offer efficient protein conversion. A couple of dairy goats can supply milk for a family with proper rotational grazing on 1 acre, and pasture pork from 2 feeder pigs raised annually provide substantial meat stores. However, complete self-sufficiency faces practical barriers. Water independence requires drilling a well, $3,000 to $8,000 depending on depth, and installing filtration systems. Municipal water access varies by location, with some rural properties relying on county water lines, while others require wells. Energy independence demands substantial solar investment. A system capable of powering refrigeration, well pumps, and basic lighting runs $25,000 to $40,000 before incentives, making grid connection more economical for most buyers. Septic systems handle waste on rural properties but require periodic pumping, $300 to $500 every 3 to 5 years, and careful management to avoid failure. Perhaps most significantly, true homesteading demands 20 to 30 hours weekly of physical labor during growing seasons. Planting, weeding, harvesting, preserving, animal care, which many modern buyers underestimate. Successful partial homesteaders typically maintain off-farm income while gradually expanding self-sufficiency. Started with chickens and a garden their first year, adding fruit trees and rabbits the second, perhaps incorporating goats or bees by year 3. The properties featured provide excellent foundations for this progression. Their acreage allows separation between living spaces and livestock areas. Mature trees offer wind protection for gardens, and existing structures like workshops can be converted to processing areas. But buyers should approach with realistic expectations. These properties enable meaningful steps towards self-reliance and food security, not instant off-grid utopias. The most successful owners view them as platforms for gradual skill development rather than immediate solutions to complete independence.
How do property taxes and ongoing ownership costs compare to suburban living elsewhere? The ongoing cost structure of owning these Mississippi farmhouses creates dramatic savings compared to suburban homeownership in most American regions, fundamentally altering long-term financial planning. Property taxes represent the starkest contrast. The featured properties carry annual tax bills ranging from $338 for the Calhoun City home to $447 for the Taylorsville property, amounts that would cover barely 1 month of property taxes on a comparable-sized home in New Jersey, Illinois, or even rapidly appreciating Sun Belt suburbs. Mississippi achieves these low rates through a combination of low assessment ratios, typically 10% to 15% of market value for residential property rather than 100% in some states, generous homestead exemptions that shield the first $7,500 to $30,000 of assessed value from taxation depending on age and disability status, and absence of special taxing districts common in suburban developments. Beyond property taxes, insurance costs remain moderate. A $150,000 home with standard coverage typically carries $800 to $1,200 annual premiums, higher than Tornado Alley states but far below hurricane-vulnerable coastal zones. Crucially, these properties lack the hidden costs that burden suburban homeowners. No homeowners association fees averaging $200 to $400 monthly in master-planned communities. No mandatory lawn services required by HOA covenants. No special assessments for road improvements or infrastructure bonds. And no pressure to maintain curb appeal through constant exterior updates. Utility costs present a mixed picture. Electricity runs higher than national averages due to intense summer cooling demands. Expect $150 to $250 monthly during peak summer months for a 2,000 square foot home, but this is partially offset by minimal heating costs in winter and absence of water/sewer bills if using well water and septic systems. Internet costs have decreased substantially with fixed wireless expansion, now running $60 to $80 monthly for service adequate for streaming and remote work. Vehicle expenses increase moderately due to necessary driving for services. Budget an additional 5,000 to 8,000 miles annually compared to urban living, but Mississippi's lack of state inspection requirements and lower gas prices partially offset this. Maintenance costs require honest assessment. Older homes demand $2,000 to $4,000 annually for painting, gutter cleaning, pest control, HVAC servicing, and minor repairs. Comparable to suburban homes, but with more owner-performed labor possible given relaxed aesthetic expectations. The cumulative effect transforms financial trajectories. A retiree spending $2,200 monthly on suburban housing, mortgage, taxes, HOA, utilities, might reduce that to $900 to $1,100 in rural Mississippi while gaining land ownership and privacy. A family earning $50,000 annually might achieve homeownership with acreage in Mississippi while remaining renters in higher-cost regions. These aren't merely cost reductions. They represent fundamental shifts in possibility, enabling debt-free living, early retirement, or redirected savings toward education, travel, or investment that simply aren't feasible when 40% to 50% of income vanishes into housing costs. The trade-off is reduced convenience and longer drives for services. But for those valuing autonomy over immediacy, the math proves transformative over a lifetime of ownership. What legacy do these properties offer beyond financial ownership? Beyond deeds and equity, these farmhouses offer something increasingly rare: the chance to rebuild intergenerational continuity fractured by decades of mobility. They provide space where grandchildren can visit and experience dirt under fingernails childhoods, climbing trees, collecting eggs, learning that food comes from soil rather than shelves. They offer resilience. During supply chain disruptions or economic uncertainty, Acreage provides psychological security even if not full self-sufficiency. They foster reconnection, to seasons through gardening, to physical work through maintenance, to community through shared harvests or tool lending. Most profoundly, they reverse a troubling trend. Instead of extracting value from land until it's depleted, these properties invite stewardship. Planting trees whose shade you'll never sit under, improving soil for future hands, restoring structures built by previous generations. In an age of disposability and rootlessness, owning land in Mississippi offers something quietly radical: the opportunity to put down roots, literally and figuratively, and participate in cycles larger than quarterly earnings or trending aesthetics. The legacy isn't just a house left to heirs. It's the memory of fireflies at dusk, the taste of a sun-warmed tomato from your garden, the sound of rain on a metal roof with no traffic underneath it. These are intangible assets no market can price, but that shape lives in ways square footage never could.